Hello, a wonderful day to you, my great students. How are you today? I believe you are fine. Thank you for the time. I want to appeal to everyone to sit down quietly, pick up your writing materials, stay off distraction, and let's get set to learn. And I advise that you prepare your questions for me at the end of the class. I'm readily available to pick up your questions and provide suitable answers to all your questions. Thank you for coming to class. Let's get started to work. Today we are considering phrase analysis, and our focus today will be on examining what a phrase is and seeing how we can analyze phrases. Don't forget that I am still Mr. Dapo Odimoloye. So our lesson objectives now. The first is that everyone at the end of my class should be able to define phrase. Everyone should be able to state what a phrase is. Also, everyone should be able to state types of phrases. Everyone should be able to name them. And number three, everyone should be able to explain the types with copious examples, with enough examples. And number four, everyone should be able to identify phrases easily in sentences. You should be able to identify phrases easily in sentences. And lastly, we'll be going a step further. We'll be comparing between a phrase and a clause. So everyone should be able to differentiate between a phrase and a clause at the end of this class. Yeah, before we proceed, let's do a quick revision of our last topic. Last class we considered concord. And I said concord is the agreement between subjects and other elements of the sentence. That is, it takes the subject to agree with the verb or the predicate and other elements of a sentence before we can have a grammatically correct sentence. That is why I told you in the last class that of all parts of English, concord is the most important because it determines if you are speaking or writing correct sentences or not. So we want to be a master of the language. Pay more attention to concord. Know all the rules. I gave out almost 20 rules in the last class. Go over these rules. Research more on these rules. And you'll be a master of the language. Remember the first rule last week, I said singular subject attracts singular verb. That is, you combine a singular subject to a singular verb. So also a plural subject will take what? A plural verb. And many more. Now I also explained the use of and. When you use and to join two or more subjects together, two or more nouns together at the subject level, they will take a plural verb. But when you use or in between subjects, in between subjects at the subject level, the closest or the closer subject to the verb will determine the nature of the verb. If the closer to the verb is singular, that will be a singular verb. If the closer to the subject is plural, that will be a plural verb. I want to advise you to please go over the last lesson again, read through, do more research, and be a master of the language. Yes, let's go to the definition of a phrase. A phrase is a group of words that stands together as a grammatical unit. It's a group of words, not that sentence. A group, not a word, a group, two or more. And it stands on its own as a grammatical, that is, it has its relevance. Just that a phrase does not contain a subject and a verb. Most times they don't contain subjects. That is what most times. And for the verb, they don't contain finite verbs at all. They may have verbs, but they don't take, we call it finite or finite verbs. They don't take finite verbs. What are finite verbs? Finite verbs are verbs that connote real action. They are verbs that connote real action. But the major thing I want to highlight here is that a phrase cannot convey a complete thought. This is one major thing about a phrase. A phrase might have a subject. Note me, might have a subject, might have a verb, but though not a finite verb. But the big deal about a phrase is that a phrase cannot make meaning. A phrase is meaningless. And this contrasts sharply with a clause. A phrase and a clause, they are two distinct things. A clause will take a verb, a subject, and have meaning. But a phrase might take a subject, might take a verb. I can tell you that more is. That more is what? That more is a phrase because it is meaningless. I can tell you going home. Going home is a phrase because it is meaningless. But a clause will have a subject, a verb, and be meaningful. Let's not digress too much to what a clause is. Let's see examples of phrases. Examples of phrases. Once in a blue moon. This means once in 2 weeks. Blue moon means 2 weeks. It's a figurative expression. Once in a blue moon means once in 2 weeks. Once in 2 weeks. This is a phrase because we don't know what it means. What happens once in 2 weeks, we don't know. Reading a book. What is wrong with reading a book? It has a verb. The verb there is reading. You can call it a gerund. That is an ing noun. But God knows that it has no meaning. To be free. To be free means what? To be free. It has no meaning. There's a verb there. The be verb is there. But those subjects are no meaning. Totally delicious food. Totally delicious food. Yes, it has no subject. It has no verb. It has no meaning. Running water. Running water. What is wrong with the running water? Running water. Running there is not a verb. It's an adjective qualifying water. Telling you the kind of water, a running one. And God knows it has no meaning. It is just a waste of 2 words. You're wasting 2 words there. Sitting on the chair. When you sit on the chair, what happens to you? We don't know. So this is a typical example of a phrase, sitting on the chair. And lastly, sleeping without light. What will happen to you? Sleep without light. These are examples of phrases because all these are group of words. They are words that have no meanings. Some of them don't have subjects. Some don't have verbs. They don't have verbs. But the big deal, like I said before, is note it, a phrase is meaningless. A phrase is meaningless. And let's start with types of phrases now. Types of phrases. The first we have is the adjectival phrase from the word adjective. Adjectival. From what you know, an adjective qualifies or modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adjective qualifies or modifies a noun or a pronoun. So when something is adjectival now, that is, such a thing will modify a noun or a pronoun. That is, it's a group of words that function as an adjective in a sentence. It's a group of words that does the work of an adjective in a sentence. And let's see what a component of an adjective is. An adjective may be accompanied by a modifier, a determiner, or a qualifier. An adjective may be accompanied by any of these three. But the major issue here is that an adjective performs, an adjectival phrase performs the function of an adjective in a sentence. That is, it modifies nouns and pronouns. Modifies nouns and pronouns. And let's say examples of adjectives there. Examples of adjectives. Our eyes were incredibly mesmerizing to the young man. Incredibly mesmerizing. This set of words qualifying our eyes. That's the noun there, our eyes. What were incredibly mesmerizing? Our eyes. So this qualifies this noun. It's telling you more about the noun. Let me put it that way. It tells you more about the noun. Then you have the highly emotive actor gave a wonderful speech. This is a noun here. Actor. This is the adjectival phrase that is qualifying the actor, telling you about the kind of actor. In short, let's put it this way. Adjectival phrases tell you more. They tell you more about the noun and the sentence. Then the apple pie smells very tempting. What smells very tempting, my students? What smells very tempting? Apple pie. That is, this very tempting as an adjectival phrase is qualifying apple pie. Then the extremely tired kitten fell asleep by a food dish. A kitten is the young one of a cat. And now that it is tired, it fell asleep. So this is an adjective qualifying kitten, telling you about the kind of kitten in question, the extremely tired one. Then the overly enthusiastic fans painted their bodies with the team's colors. These are fans who are overly enthusiastic, and this is qualifying fans, telling you about the kind of fans they are. And this is a noun. Is a noun. Then a dog covered in mud made a mess in my car. Which kind of dog? The one covered in mud. So, like I said before, adjectival phrases will tell you more about the noun or pronoun, but mostly nouns. Yes? Cowboys riding to the sunset were in their final scenes of many movies. Which kind of cowboy? The ones riding to the sunset. So in short, adjectival phrases will answer the question which eyes? Which eyes? The incredibly mesmerizing eyes. Which actor? The highly emotive one. Which pie? The very tempting pie. Which kitten? The extremely tired kitten. Which fans? The overly enthusiastic fans. Which dog? The one covered in mud. And which cowboy? The one riding into the sunset. So they tell you more about nouns, and they answer the question which. Let's go to adverbia now. For an adverbial phrase, like another phrase, performs the function of an adjective in a sentence. It does the work of an adjective sentence. And mind you, an adjective can modify a verb. I remember those primary school days when they tell you that it can only modify a verb. No. An adjective can modify a verb. It can modify an adjective. And an adverb can modify another adverb. Let me give you a scenario that will illustrate this. This is a case of an adjective modifying a verb. It talks slowly. This is an adjective, ADV, like I do call it, ADV, modifying this verb talks. Yes or no? Yes. Now let's see where an adjective can modify, where an adverb can modify an adjective. He is very rude. Very rude. Rude here is an adjective, ADJ, an adjective. because when somebody is rude, it talks about the character of the person. Very here is an adverb that is modifying this adjective, telling you about how rude, very rude, very rude, very rude. Then let's see how an adjective can modify another adjective. Let's see, let me clean this so I can write. Let's see how an adjective can modify another adjective. If I say Sade behaves too bad for a pastor's son. That is, it acts too bad to be a pastor's son. Let's see this case now. This is a verb. Behaves is a verb. This is an adverb. Behaves. You say Tade behaves bad. Tade behaves bad. But this is another adverb that is modifying this adverb. Other adverb modifying this adverb. Let's not linger on this because this is not my focus for this slide. I want to discuss what an adverbial phrase is. Then an adverbial phrase answers some questions. It answers where, it answers why, it answers when. It has types. An adverbial phrase is grouped in types. So let's brush through the types very fast. The first one is that of manner. It answers how. I slept well. I had that sleep. I slept well. He smiled happily. They played happily. Discussing manner. The manner. How did I sleep? How did we play? Then it also discusses place. Adverbial phrase of place. And this answers where. Where? I saw the book here. I saw the book here. It was over there. Where did I see the book? Here. Where did I see it? It was over there. So this discusses place. We also have that of time, which answers the question when. Time answers when. When I tell you, I saw him now. I just saw him now. When did I see him? Just now. That is adverbial phrase of time. Then he will come today. He will come today. When will he come? Today. Today. That is adverbial phrase of time. Then frequency. He fights always. He fights always. He is never in class. How often does he fight? Always. 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 That is stating frequency. Then how often does he come to class? No, never in class. Never in class. That is adverbial phrase of time. Then degree now. Degree says how much, to what extent, He is extremely rude. Extremely rude. Extremely is qualifying rude. And that is telling you the extent of his being rude. Then we also have that of sentence that complements a sentence. I hopefully wait for her arrival. That is complementing such a sentence. Then let's see examples now. In types, examples in types. He walks carefully across the road. He walked very carefully. Very carefully here is an adverb of manner, telling you how. Answering how. How did he work? How did we work? Very carefully. Here is where I was born. Here is where I was born. Here is where is adverb of time. Of place. Answer the question where. Answer the question where. This is where I was born. The daddy got home very late. When did the daddy get home? When? Very late. Very late. And this is answering when. Then the pill will take away the pain temporarily. Temporarily here is duration. The same thing as time. Duration. Or you can say, how will it take it away? How? You can go for how. Duration or how. Then this one will be how will it take it away? Or when. Then to the last straw that breaks the camel back, like they do say. A noun phrase now. This is more complex because it has diverse functions. But let's brush through them also in no manner of time. This is a group of two or more words that is headed by a noun. Group of two or more words headed by a noun that includes a person, a place, or thing with a modifier. You can see there, modifier. This is the modifier here with modifier of here. Then the same way other phrases do. A noun phrase plays the role of a noun in a sentence. It plays the role of a noun in a sentence. That is, a noun phrase names. A noun names. Noun phrase is what? They name. A noun phrase can be replaced, can be added by a pronoun. Let me explain this very well. You can replace a noun phrase with a pronoun. And we get to that place, we'll see how you do it. Examples are the dogs with fly, the ones with fly. And examples in sentences, we have it like in words like this: the soldier, my cousin, Dopey Allen, the lawyer with the big nose, that's one rat, a shark, funny Mikey, the house in the corner, inner London, dirty factory, no shelter, this table, our London Bridge. Let's pick one or two to discuss what the components of a noun phrase. Let's pick this. A noun phrase must have a noun in it. Yes, it must have a noun in it. Then it must have a modifier also. It may have a modifier. In most cases, they have modifiers. Yes, they do. The modifier here is mine. That mine works in the form of an adjective. This is the noun in it itself. Cousin is a noun. Here also, funny Mickey. This is the modifier, the adjective. Then this is the noun itself. Then the house in the corner. House here is a noun. At school D here is a modifier. We can stop and say the house. The house is the same thing as the house in the corner. The same function. They are both noun phrases. Yes. Then we can say our London Bridge. For those who are Chelsea fans in my class, London Bridge is falling down. You know Stamford Bridge now. Yeah. This is the noun bridge, and it has even two modifiers. London. This is qualifying bridge. Which kind of bridge? The London one. And the our is also a modifier. Then idea. You have some kindness. Some article SOME is acting as a modifier here. And this is the head word, which is a noun. Let's see functions of a noun phrase. This is the only type of phrase that has multiple functions. Like other ones, the adjectival own will only qualify or modify a noun or a pronoun. That's a function. Then the adverbial will only modify a verb or an adjective or another adverb. But this one has complicated functions. The functions differ. based on the application. The first one is the subject of a verb. This is when the noun phrase acts as the subject. We all know what a subject is. The subject comes before the verb. The subject is the first element in a sentence. So when your noun phrase acts as the subject of a sentence, that noun phrase is working as a subject of the sentence. Let's highlight the noun phrases here. Let's look for the first thing here for the verb. The tall tree. Am I right? The baby, dogs and cats. These are all noun phrases working as SV. I call it SV. Meaning subject of the verb, SV. Because number one, they are before the verb. Before the verb, they act upon the verb, and they are the first thing in the sentence. The tall tree. Like I said, we can replace our noun phrase, our noun phrases with a pronoun. I can say it fell. I can say he cried. I can say they make. This is only applicable here. It is only in the noun phrase that you can replace it with a pronoun. Try other phrases. It's impossible. Definitely impossible. Now to say this, please, in your notes, try and add 2 examples of your own. Add 2 examples of your own in your notes. Then, the next one is OV, object of the verb. Object of the verb. We all know that an object in sentence comes after the verb. Comes after the verb. And most times, they come last. They are the last element in the sentence. They come after. Here I have it as I wish to see the manager or the cookies. Here we have an extremely captivating book. These are noun phrases coming after. This is a verb. Verb C, the verb ate, the verb recommended. Like I said, they come after the verb. After. They come after the verb. And most times they are always the last element in a sentence. Last element in a sentence. And you can see here. You can see them here. The manager, the cookies, an extremely captivating book. And like I said, after, notice, after the object, after the verb rather, after the verb and the last element. Last element. Then we have it as subject complement. Subject. Here, the noun phrase describes the subject of the sentence. Noun phrase describes the subject. In short, I say the noun phrase is the same person or same thing as the subject. The same person or same thing as the subject. Here now, this is my noun phrase. My noun phrase. My noun phrase. It says that my grandfather is a farmer. This is describing my grandfather. Describe my grandfather. Our favorite pets are dogs with short hair. These are describing our favorite pet. This is describing them. Dogs with short hair. Then this is also describing Mr. James, a handsome man. And like I said here, I said it's the same thing or same person as the subject. I can simply ask here, who is my grandfather? A farmer. What are our favorite pets? Dogs with short hair. Who is Mr. James? A handsome man. They are the same. The noun phrase is the same thing as the subject of the sentence. The same thing as the subject of the sentence. Let's try and note that. And most times, they are referred to as verbs complement or complement of the verbs by some grammarians. Let's try and note. Those are who study linguistics and things related to grammar in university. You will learn about this. Then, the other one is object complement. Object. Here, the noun phrase acts as an indirect object. Acts as an indirect object. In the sense that it comes after the object. Let me use this. Comes after the object. That is why we say it acts as an indirect object. Here the object here is me. Am I right? The object here is his mother. The object here is the brilliant boy. And anything we have after the objects, I said they are noun phrases working as object complementing the objects. Here, this is some beautiful flowers complimenting me, telling you who they gave it to. A nice picture complimenting mother, his mother. Then a deserving scholarship complimenting the brilliant boy, telling you who got the scholarship. So when a noun phrase comes after the object in the sentence, such a noun phrase is working as a complement of the object. That is, object complement. I call it OV. Call it OV. Here I call this SC. SC. I said this is OV, this is SC, and this is OV. Then number 5, now we have complement of the preposition. This is when the noun phrase comes after the preposition in the sentence. Very simple. It comes after the preposition. Here, this is a preposition. This is a preposition. This is a preposition. Here. So that is everything after it are noun phrases. Our children, their spring break, the lengthy day. So because they are after preposition, they are working as noun phrases in preposition complement. I call it CP, complement of the preposition, because they come after what? Preposition in a sentence. And lastly is as an apposition to a noun. I call it APN, as an apposition to a noun. This is when the noun phrase and the subject are separated by a comma. Look at it. The noun phrase is appositive to the subject. It's more or less the noun phrase stating more facts about the subject. Here, this is my noun phrase. You can see a comma between itself and the subject. This is my noun phrase, a comma between itself and the subject. Then this is my noun phrase. You can see a comma between itself and the subject. So because the noun phrase here is separated by the subject, from the subject with a comma, we call it a noun phrase working in apposition. That is, sharing position with a noun, but divided by, separated by a comma. Let's try and note that. So I would advise you to please go over the rules again for your own good. Go over the functions again. Sorry, the functions for your own good, the functions for your own good. SC here is when the noun, SV here is when the noun phrase is before the verb, noun phrase before the verb. Here, noun phrase after the verb, noun phrase after the verb here. Then here, noun phrase is the same thing as the subject. That is, the noun phrase is complementing the subject. Here, the noun phrase is after the object. The noun phrase is after the object. And here, the noun phrase is after the preposition, coming after the preposition. And lastly, here, the noun phrase and the subject are separated by a comma. That is, the noun phrase is working in apposition. The noun phrase is appositive to the subject. And before we go, I want to go over what I've said so far. I've said a phrase does not contain the subject and the verb, and consequently cannot convey complete thoughts. I even said, even when they have a subject and a verb, even when they have, note that big deal. That this is a big deal. I said they cannot convey a complete thought. Also, an adjectival phrase modifies a noun or a pronoun. An adverb is a group of words that functions as an adverb in a sentence. The noun phrase is the real big deal, the real deal, the real deal. Says that it has many functions and it's added by a noun with a modifier. And I said it plays the role of a noun in a sentence. And a function, I've mentioned SV for you in class. I mentioned OV. I mentioned SC. I mentioned OC. I mentioned CP. And lastly, I mentioned APN. and I've explained their diverse rules. I also appeal to you to lay your hands on these textbooks. Go for further readings on this topic. Don't be limited to what I've taught you in class. Do further research on this topic and learn more. And before I leave, I have underlined some phrases in this assignment, this assessment. Do it now for me in class. I'll mark next class. Let's do it now. State the type of phrase underlined in the following sentence. The type of phrase: the black Italian bag was bought by me. Sleeping without light is dangerous. I left the ball in my school bag. He studied in the school library. She bought the cake in the new Chinese restaurant. Football is best played in the morning. Kemi is the new school nurse. State their types against next class. I will mark next class. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for learning from me. I want to say, enjoy the rest of your day. Read further, do my assignments, and remain good students. I love you all.